Hey, what's up everyone? My name is William, and today we're going to be going over the EXS24's audio file editor, the built-in audio file editor that we can use in order to edit some of the audio samples that we're using with our instrument. So first, I've just opened up a new session here, opened up EXS24, and we loaded up the factory preset that is the Steinway Grand Piano 2. So first of all, in order to get to our audio file editor, we have to click on this edit button. Again, as I've said in previous videos, if you don't have that edit button, it could be because you don't have your advanced tools enabled. So just go to your Logic Pro preferences, advanced tools, and just make sure all these checkboxes are checked in order to have all of your advanced tools for Logic. So in order to get into this, let's just click on the edit button, which again opens our instrument editor window. The audio file editor window goes hand in hand with the instrument editor window just because it's a way to edit the samples that you're going to be using in the instrument editor. So first, let's look at, let's listen to our MIDI clip that we have right here. It's just a C major scale, and then we're going to get into some editing. So just a basic C major scale, C3 to C4 is what was played. Okay, so it's from here to here. These are the zones that are played, these few zones. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to just take this first zone, this zone that covers B2 to C sharp 3, and we're going to use that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first take that zone, drag it into its own group, and we're going to just get rid of everything else in our instrument here. So I'm just going to highlight all of those other groups, delete them, and then click in the ungrouped area and highlight all of these zones and delete all of these. So now what we're left with is just our piano roll and just that first sample that's being played. So if we listen to our MIDI clip, we will just hear the first note. Cool. So the next thing we want to do, just to set it up, just so we're only using this audio file for the entire keyboard, I'm just going to look at my group 22, look at my zone that's in my group, and we're going to set the key range of this zone to the entire keyboard by dragging the low as we possibly can, and then dragging the high as we possibly can. So now, and we make sure the pitch checkbox is checked. It should be if you're following along. The entire C major scale will play again. It'll just be the same sample pitched upwards. So let's listen to that. So it sounds a little different than it did before, but we're just going to do that just so as we're making edits, it's applying to the entire scale because this is our only audio sample that we have. So to open up our audio file editor, all I did was look at my zone here and I just double clicked on it and it opened up this huge window with our audio sample. So how they have this specific instrument setup, it looks like they reference one audio file multiple times for many of the different notes. So that's perfectly fine. All we have to do in order to get to the section of our audio file that this note is referencing, or this zone that we're using is referencing, all we have to do is look up at the top and we can see there's a portion in the center right here that's highlighted white. That's our section that is being used. So I just clicked over here in the top overhead bar in order to quickly get to it. I could scroll left and right to get to it, and we can see our view moving around as I'm doing that. So now that we're looking at our audio sample, we can actually start doing some editing if we want. We can do a lot of different things. The first thing that we can do is if we look at our region bar down here, is we can change when our sample starts and when it stops. So if I drag this beginning of the region right here, now we'll only hear the end of our clip. So you could hear the differences that were happening there. It's much quieter now. Next, what we can do is, of course, adjust our end the same way. Let's just drag it a little shorter. So you could hear what was happening there. So in addition to that, we can do multiple things to our audio file. And we can do multiple things with some of the tools we have up here. On the left, we have our audio file drop-down box that gives us some options. We can save the selection as a audio file on our computer if we want. We can create backup, revert to backup, detect transients, things like that, and refresh overview of our audio file. Next, we have this edit menu that we have, some controls: cut, copy, delete, select all, create new region, things like that. Go to, set, different abilities there. Next, we have our functions menu. This is where more of the editing actually comes in place. We have normalize options, gain changing options, fade in, fade out, silence, invert, reverse, trim, remove DC offset. We have a bunch of different options here that we can apply to our audio sample in our instrument. We also have, search peak, search silence, adjust tempo by selection and locators, time and pitch machine. We have a lot of different options we can do here. And the last menu is just a view, so we can change some of the viewing options if we wanted to. As well as we can show where this sample is located in our Finder, so we could find it where it is on our computer. So multiple things there. The next thing, and the last very important thing about editing audio with the audio file editor in EXS24 is these tools up here. We have our left click tool and our command click tool. This just means that whenever we left click, this tool will be used. So right now it's selected to pointer. That's typically what you want to keep for your left click tool, just to make things easier. Next, we have our command click tool, which if you're holding command, you can, change what you're doing by, whatever tool is selected. So right now we have command. Our command click tool is our hand tool. So if we hold command, we can click and drag this around this highlighted area if we wanted to. And we have multiple tools here. We have another pointer tool, the eraser tool, zoom tool, solo tool, and pencil tool. All very useful things. The zoom tool is used to zoom in. Pencil tool is used if you need to fix some errors in the audio file. You can draw them in as you get closer here. So, if you wanted, you could draw them in like so. Sometimes though, you want to be careful with that. I'm just going to undo that just in case, just because you can get slight clicks in your audio file if you start doing things like that. That's just something to keep in mind there. So next, what we're going to do though is we are going to just close this and listen to what our audio sample again sounds like, and then we're going to make some adjustments to our audio file. Okay, so that's again what it sounded like. Let's just double click on that. Go to our white area. So now the first thing I want to try out is we're going to do our fade in tool. So now it put a fade in the beginning of the highlighted area. So now let's listen to what it sounds like. It's much quieter. If you want, you could only highlight a smaller area. And let's do functions, fade in. Now let's listen to our MIDI clip again. And we get a whole bunch of different options here. So if we wanted to, for example, reverse our audio file, we could, just using our pointer tool, we could highlight the area we want to reverse. Let's just do this first little section right here. And then click functions, reverse. And of course, you can memorize all these command tools. I'm just using the menus to show you, a easy visual representation of how to get to these functions. So now if we reverse that, so as you can see, it now has reversed this part and it broke up our waveform a little bit. But let's just listen to what our audio file sounds like now when we're playing the MIDI clip. So you could hear it reversing for that sound there. So you have a lot of different options with the audio file editor. If you want to make adjustments, if you want to make changes to the audio file you're using for the sampler. That about wraps up the basic idea of the audio file editor, though. I hope you learned something. It's a very versatile tool to use when you're making custom EXS24 sampler instruments in Logic. So definitely try that out. Try some different presets and mess with them a little bit. But again, my name is William. I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.